Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever needed a reason or if you ever need an excuse to drop American comic books and go read manga right now, I think this article is pretty much going to give you whatever last little bit of reason that you needed. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it is very clear that the American comic book industry is in the dumps. I've been saying this for a long, long time, been talking about it for I don't even know how long now. And I know a lot of people are sick of me saying it, but ladies and gentlemen, the American comic book industry is trash. It is trash. The independent scene is trying to save American comics right now, but unfortunately, the mainstream version of it is garbage. So we have an article here from Bounding Into Comics that says Marvel Comics executive Tom Brevoort pushes back after fans hope that the new X-Men event ditches ideology-driven storytelling and claims that the team is rooted in the message. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, an executive currently at Marvel is telling you right now that the new X-Men is going to be heavily driven in the message. The message, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button, man. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. And also, since this is my second video for the day after Christmas, just wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I was taking one day off. I know it's pretty shocking, but I did take a day off, so I hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas. Now, let's get into this nonsense. So it says, in dashing the hopes of many an X fan, Marvel Comics executive Tom Brevoort has pushed back against those who voice concern that the publisher's newly announced next X-Men event would see the team further subjected to the publisher's current ideology, character subversion-driven editorial direction, by claiming that Merry Band of Mutants has always been rooted in the message. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is trying to pretend as if these comic book characters have always been rooted in current day identity politics. That is literally an impossibility, because obviously current day is current day, right? It didn't exist in the past. The past had its own current day, right? So this is a new current day, and this new current day, a lot of people have a problem with, but they're trying to say that there was a lot of hints here and there that goes to show that it was always rooted in it. So it says, officially revealed by Marvel on December 20th, the aptly titled X-Men from the Ashes event will serve as the follow-up to the currently ongoing Fall of X and see the X-Men titles reborn in July of 2024. However, outside of this brief tease of a line-wide reboot and a logo featuring the 1990s version of the team's logo, the publisher did not offer any additional information regarding the event. Notably, while Marvel's official tweet announcing the event drew little criticism, it would be Brevoort's own promotion of the event, in which he shared the above graphic and teased Start the Clock, that would see fans pour out to voice their concerns. Now, this is the actual Marvel tweet right here. I don't see Brevoort. Oh, here we go. Brevoort's Start the Clock. Got it. So it says, unless you retcon the past 10 to 20 years of X-Men canonical history so none of it ever happened, or reveal that they were all damaged Sinister clones the whole time while the real X-Men were in stasis, it's all pointless, wrote Twitter user Thor Odinson. The damage goes back way before the terrible Krakoa era, so short of a massive retcon, you've effectively broken these characters for good. Congratulations. Likewise, Crypto Count opined, unless Marvel cleans house, ridding themselves of the current writers, majority of artists and editors, it will be nothing but a countdown to more failure. The industry hasn't admitted the problem yet, they added. Until then, nothing will change. Now, this I agree with 100%, ladies and gentlemen. This particular line is so important because it's just like Hollywood, right? Hollywood doesn't want to admit that it has a problem. Neither does the American comic book industry. They don't want to admit that they are the problem. They don't want to admit that the people that they have working for them right now, the writers that they have, the editors that they have, even some of the artists they have, they don't want to admit that the rot runs deep, right? They want to protect it, right? It's like protecting the old guard. And I understand that, but they don't want to admit it. So because they don't want to admit it, they rather just keep rebooting and rebooting and rebooting in the hopes that something sticks, in the hopes that something actually works in their ideology-based comic books. This is what they're hoping for, and they'll keep rebooting this shit until they're dead. Like they'll literally keep doing it. They rather do that than admit that they're the problem and they're the ones that are ruining everything. It's never their fault. It's always yours. Taking note of the event's use of the 90s logo, Inhuman Nation stressed to Brevoort that the fans made the industry and took it from the counterculture to the mainstream. We watched our beloved heroes get prostituted out for the last 30 years, and for this to have any chance at recapturing any of the magic from that time, it has to be more than shoehorn diversity, equity, and inclusion. Giving a cheeky take on the situation, noted comic book YouTuber Comic Perch laughed watching Twitter fans throw a fit about the end of the Krakoa era after 3 years of comic investment is quite something. I mean, can you blame them? Imagine collecting comics for 3 years and then the tone of the comic changes dramatically. The horror. But rather than engage with these disappointed and hesitant fans in good faith, the Marvel VP instead responded to their concerns with a tired attempt to paint them as homophobes and bigots. Oh my God, ladies, I can't wait to read this. You already know this is going to be good. It says, well, this X-Men graphic sure brought a lot of people out in force. Dismiss Brevoort. One reminder that I wouldn't be necessary. Express whatever opinion you like, but if you show up with homophobia or bigotry or hate speak of any sort, it'll be an instant block. What a pussy, man. Jesus Christ. Like, these guys don't want to hear any other opinion other than what they agree with, okay? Because they say, oh, you can have any opinion you want. That's bullshit. That's absolutely bullshit. Because if that's the case, you wouldn't be in the same sentence threatening to block anybody that gives you what you would call hate speech, homophobia, whatever. That just means stuff that you don't agree with. You can label that whatever you want. Hate speak is all bullshit, okay? Hate speak is speech that someone else doesn't like, okay? Straight up. So you trying to threaten to block people because they're gonna speak hate speak, that just goes to show where you're at. And again, I want you guys to understand this. This is an executive at Marvel, which means that this is the rot running deep, okay? It all starts from the top, ladies and gentlemen. If the top is corrupted, guess where the bottom's going to be? The bottom's going to be just as corrupted, just as rotten to the core. So Tom saying this is just basically reminding you and exposing himself at the same time of what's going on in the American comic book industry. It says, unsurprisingly, the Marvel Comics editor's condescending flippancy was met not with applause, but rather further criticism of the publisher's disregard for not only its own characters, but its fans. One such frustrated fan was Gavin Knight, who responded to Brevoort's dismissal by cutting through his attempts to run defense for Marvel Comics' low-quality output and directly requesting, how about you tell a good story and stop shoving the message down our throats? In turn, in doing so inadvertently confirming fans' fears that the X line was set up for even more years of ham-fisted social politics, Brevoort attempted to shut down both Gavin Knight and their like-minded critics by raising the popular yet false belief that X-Men were created as superpowered analogs to the 1960s American civil rights movement. It's X-Men, declared the editor. The message is the premise. Man, ladies and gentlemen, first off, that whole garbage about it being an analog to the 1960s American civil rights movement, I've watched both arguments to that, and I've seen this argument get completely destroyed over and over and over again, but they hold on to it tight. They hold on to it because they need this. They need this message. They need it to be real, because if this is not real, then they have nothing else, right? They have nothing else to stand on. So they need this to be true to them, and they try to make it true every single time they possibly can, but, you know, people just laugh at them at that point. It says, as noted above, despite the read of the X-Men having become a recent element of the team's pop culture identity, it was not part of their original concept. As explained by the team's co-creator Stan Lee during a 2004 interview given to the Archive of American Television's Lisa Terada for the group's Living Television collection, well, there's a funny story. Everything is a funny story. After I had done the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Spider-Man, I think the X-Men came next, said the industry icon. The X-Men and one other, I think Daredevil, they're about the same. Anyway, I wanted to do another group of superheroes, but I was getting tired now of figuring out how they get their superpowers, he explained. I couldn't have everybody bitten by a radioactive spider or exposed to a gamma ray explosion. And I took the cowardly way out, he continued. I said to myself, why don't I just say they're mutants? They were born that way. We all know they are mutants in real life. There's a frog with 5 legs, things like that. So I won't have to think of new excuses. I'll get as many as I want, and yeah, he's a mutant, that's all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at least Stan Lee was honest about the entire situation, unlike Tom Brevoort, who can't be honest for the life of himself. He is so based in the message. He is literally the message. And I want to remind everybody that this is someone who is an executive at Marvel. Keep in mind, this starts at the top and trickles its way down, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, I'm going to say what I always say, which is I am so glad I like reading manga. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.